Hey everyone, it's Greg with Coldesi and Digital Heat FX, and in this print optimizer training video, I wanted to show you all some other cool features that you can utilize in your print optimizer software, and they're essentially by adding dots or stripes to your graphic. So adding dots or stripes to your graphic can really be helpful with the breathability and the flexibility of the finished transfer. So essentially by adding dots to your graphic, you're pretty much adding little holes evenly spaced throughout the graphic itself to create some negative space in that graphic. And the same thing with the lines. So if you add the lines to the graphic, it's going to add some lines of negative space that will give the graphic some stretchability and breathability itself as well. So in order to be able to add the dots or the stripes to the graphic, you need to choose that print mode first before importing your graphic. I'm in my graphics queue, which is the queue that I want to be in. And then going down to my print modes, if I hit the drop down button, you'll see we have DFX with dots, DFX with stripes. So you always want to use the V2 when you're using either the standard dots or stripes print modes. So V2, V2, V2. So let's begin with the dots. So I'm going to click DFX with dots V2, and my page size is correct, 11 by 17. And now I'm just going to simply click the import button on the top, double click and import my graphic. Now one thing to note is that unfortunately when the preview populates, unfortunately you're not going to be able to see the dots in the preview on the right hand side over here. So in order to be able to view the dots before you print out your graphic, we'll utilize our view raw data option. So we'll click on our graphic and make sure it's highlighted in blue, and then we'll click our spool job button on the top. Our status is going to change to holding, job spooled. So at that point, we can go ahead and right click on the graphic and click on view raw data. Okay, so now you can see in the preview that the dots have been added, evenly spaced throughout your graphic. And that just gives the graphic a cool effect on your garment itself. Again, it'll give it some breathability within your shirt itself. So you can see the dots. All these dots represent negative space in the graphic itself. So I'm just going to close out my view raw data window to show you how you can manipulate dots. So again, in order to make any changes or manipulations, you need to first open your job if the status is holding. So you can't make any changes if the status is holding, job spooled. So I'm going to right click in the queue and click on open page. In order to look at the options to change the size and shapes of the dots that are added to the graphic, we'll just double click on the graphic itself in the queue, and that will open our job ticket properties window. First, you want to click on the arrow next to color layer, and then we're going to go to the last option, ink removal. This allows you to change the frequency, the angle, and the shape of the dots that are added to the graphic itself. So there's a lot of choices in here. You can experiment and do some really cool things if you'd like. So I usually, the inverted round is the default setting. You can change the hole size, so you can really manipulate this. So I'm going to click OK when I feel everything is alright. Let's move on to the stripes. So in the same way that we need to change our print mode first. So I'm just going to keep my graphic here. I'm not going to remove it. You don't need to remove it if you don't want to. So the first thing I'm going to check that I'm in my graphics queue. Next thing I'm going to check is my print mode. So I'm going to go to my DFX with stripes V2 print mode. Click on that. And then I'll go up to the top and open my graphic and import it into the software. Okay, so that's populated. I'm just going to bring it up, fit it to page and center it on page. And again, unfortunately, you won't be able to see the stripes themselves in the preview area. So I'm going to spool my job. So you can click on the spool icon at the top. Make sure your item is clicked on and highlighted in blue. You can also view the raw data by right-clicking on the graphic itself, on the icon, or excuse me, on the graphic, and then go to Rip Only. This will change the status to Holding, Job Spooled, and then you can right-click on it again and click View Raw Data, and now you'll be able to see the stripes that were added to the graphic. And again, this just gives your shirt some breathability and some flexibility. So I'm going to close this out, and then I'm going to right-click and open my page to be able to make edits. And then I will double-click on my DFX with Stripes graphic to open up my Job Ticket Properties menu. And then again, click on the arrow next to color layer, ink removal, and then again you can change all your options in here. Now we did attach a document to this lesson with some settings with the stripes that we do recommend. So make sure you follow those settings on the document that we included. We found that those settings work the best with the stripes. So that's pretty much your dots and stripes option within your Print Optimizer software. Again, utilizing this option will give your end result some more breathability and some more flexibility.